Let's talk about citizenship delays and lawsuits. Hi, I'm Jim Hacking, immigration lawyer practicing law throughout the United States out of our offices in St. Louis, San Diego, and Washington, D.C. You know, one of my favorite things to do is to sue USCIS when people's naturalization cases are taking too long. I filed my first naturalization lawsuit against USCIS here in the Eastern District of Missouri way back in 2007 or 2008. I guess it was 2008. And on that occasion, we represented 36 primarily Muslim people who'd been waiting for their citizenship for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 7 years. One lady had even been waiting 9 years for her citizenship. And when we filed that lawsuit, her case and everybody else's got moving. So the great thing was that in the first 6 months of filing that lawsuit, 34 of the 36 people had become U.S. citizens. I tried to turn it into a class action to let me represent all the Muslims in Missouri who've been waiting for more than a year for their citizenship, but the federal judge said no. So since that time, we've been filing them one at a time. And we file lots of different kinds of lawsuits, but naturalization is one of our favorites because there are special provisions that make it easier to sue USCIS in federal court. So how does it work? Well, if you've had your interview and if 120 days have gone by, there's a special provision in the Immigration and Nationality Act, Section 1447, Subpart B, that allows you to go into court and ask a federal judge to either naturalize you or to send your case to USCIS with instructions, and that is with guidelines or deadlines as to when to decide the case. So it's really a great tool. We have used this for lots and lots of people. We did it for many Iraqi translators who had come to the United States after helping protect American servicemen and women in Iraq and Afghanistan. And for whatever reason, USCIS was really dragging ass on getting them their citizenship. So we have filed these for people in Baltimore, in St. Louis, in Houston, and Dallas, and Los Angeles. So we really enjoy working on these because we take these people who've been waiting for a long time, who have tried InfoPass, who have been banging their head against the wall, who have been talking to Emma online, who have asked their members of Congress to help them, and they just can't get any support or any answers as to when their naturalization case is going to be delayed. So if you've had your interview and 120 days have gone by, you can go into court and you can say, Judge, you should naturalize me. Now, USCIS doesn't want a judge to take that power away from them. The interesting thing is in the old days, only federal judges had the power to naturalize people. They gave part of that power back to USCIS, but one of the checks on USCIS and unreasonable delays is this provision that allows you to sue. And once you sue, USCIS has to stop processing the case. That's a really great thing. So if you have a case that you're a little bit worried about and 120 days have gone by, another good benefit of suing them, besides getting them to move on the case, is that it sort of shows that a judge is watching and it puts USCIS sort of back on their heels. I had a case where a fellow had been waiting for a really long time after his interview, way more than 120 days. We filed the lawsuit. Then USCIS quickly denied the lawsuit. Well, it turns out that once I filed that action in federal court, USCIS lost jurisdiction. They lost the power to decide the case. And USCIS tried to challenge me on that, and we won on appeal of that decision. So USCIS loses the power to decide the case unless the judge gives that back to them with instructions as to when to do it. So usually when we sue them, they get moving right away and they'll say something like, Jim, we're ready to issue a decision. Would you be willing to remand the case back to USCIS? And if they say, we'll get that decision out in 2 weeks, yeah, we say, yeah, we'll do it. So the lawsuit's a really powerful tool if you've been waiting. Now, you also have the right to sue them even if you haven't had your interview. So the Administrative Procedures Act says that if an agency has a matter before it and isn't deciding the case in a timely manner, you can file a lawsuit in federal court trying to get them to make a decision in a certain amount of time. You can ask a federal judge who's appointed for life to compel the agency to issue a decision or to conduct an interview and issue a decision. This is, again, something USCIS doesn't like, and they don't want a judge to order them to do that. So once you sue them, they just get moving right away in most cases, right? And so you can file a lawsuit if you've had your interview or if you haven't. Now, once we started filing more and more of these 120-day delay lawsuits post-interview, then USCIS simply stopped scheduling people for interview because they realized that that's what started that 120-day clock. And then once that clock starts, they're sort of screwed as far as sitting on the case. So now they do more delay on the front end to keep you from getting the interview. But you can sue them to get that interview too. And we filed lots and lots of those lawsuits as well. So there are a lot of moving parts when you apply for citizenship, but the one thing you should understand as a green card holder is you have a lot of power too. You have the power to sue them. You have the power to hold them to the law, which says that they have to decide it in 4 months. They can't just sit on it forever, and you have the right to sue them. And so, like I said, this is one of our favorite things to do. We've done it probably hundreds of times, and a lot of clients have had great success after waiting, frustrated, trying to get somebody to give them a damn decision. And it's really the lawsuit that gets them moving. So if you have a naturalization case that's been waiting for months and months since your interview, or if you have one that you've been waiting years and months to get an interview and a decision, you can go into federal court in the district in which you live and sue them to get a final decision. So if you have questions about this or want to hire us for a naturalization delay lawsuit, give us a call at 314-961-8200. You can also email us info@hackingimmigrationlaw.com. We're trying to help as many people naturalize as possible so that they can participate in the election and hopefully vote against you-know-who in the 2024 election. So if you want to get started on this, I suggest you do it sooner rather than later so that you'll be able to participate in this election, which is going to be so important. If you're just looking for free resources, that's fine too. We have our Immigrant Home Facebook group. We'd love to have you join us there. There's thousands of members in there talking about the immigration process. We'd also ask you to subscribe to our YouTube channel, where you can get new videos like this one a couple days a week, and also where we have our Immigration Answers live show. Finally, my daughter, Noor, who's in charge of our TikTok channel, would love it if you subscribed to or followed us on TikTok @Immigration Hacking. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.